Well, hello and welcome to Today at Cowes. This is day 4. It's Women's Day. More on that later. Celebrities, rocks. We got it all here on our chat, Matt. And, let's start off with the weather, which was a bit misty, a bit rainy, and we had forecast 20 plus knots.
Yeah, we did. In fact, quite a lot more than that. It was 25 knots, possibly even with gusts up to 28 knots. And I think that got into people's minds before they went out, rather spooked quite a few people, and understandably so. You know, that's a fairly punchy forecast. The problem was that when you got out there in the morning, it was misty, it was low cloud, but there wasn't any wind, and that rather confused quite a few people. And it was quite tricky. It never really got to those levels later on in the day. So it was a difficult day to sort of figure out, really. And but the difficult days started with some of those on the start line, of course.
Yes, our classes of the day were Contessa 32s and the HB 30 class.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, we started with the HB 30s. They weren't actually on the squadron line, but I went out to go and find out what they'd been up to during the day. When the crews in the HB 30 class woke up this morning and looked at the weather forecast, I wouldn't mind betting they were licking their lips. With a forecast for 20, 25 knots, possibly even gusts of 28, for these high-performance machines, that's a pretty glamorous day. And while the weather forecast didn't quite bear out, they still had over 20 knots of breeze, and that made for some pretty exciting racing out in the eastern Solent. Well, while the race course might have been complicated enough, when you throw a supertanker into the mix, it really did cause all kinds of problems for the HP 30s. It really compressed the fleet halfway through the race. So at the Contessa 32 start, there seemed to be a range of opinions as to where to start. But of course it was inshore that actually won the day. And it was this boat, Blanco, that ended up winning. They were never really challenged. They got an early lead and sailed right off the front to take a win. What was particularly interesting though, having gone out and followed the HP 30s, which are boats that are about the same kind of size, around 30 foot, we watched the HP 30s go blistering downhill, doing about sort of 15, 16, 17 knots. And then we watched the Contessa 32s go downhill, which was a sharp reminder as to how we used to sail downwind back in the day. So here they are, the winners in the Contessa 32 class, owner and skipper Ray Rouse. First of all, well done. That was quite a lively race in places, wasn't it?
Well, it certainly was very hard work, and fresh breeze, and it's all quite a question of, it was all over at the start, quite honestly. It was very, very difficult at the start with the wind dropping and a foul flood tide, sweeping all the boats back off the squadron line, which was very heavily biased to windward on the squadron end. So it was a difficult start for everybody, and even us weren't on the line at the gun, but we were much further up than the rest of the fleet, and once we were away it wasn't too difficult to keep everybody covered and plod around the course.
Yeah, well, it certainly looked that way. We caught up with you a little bit later on when you were going downwind to, not the penultimate mark, but the last downwind leg. Right. And I have to admit, having a little bit of a smile watching you going into that leeward mark, thinking, goodness, I'm old enough to remember that was the way we used to always go downwind, like a metronome. It looked quite nerve-wracking at times.
Yeah, but the Contessa's long-keeled, so when she puts in these death rolls, it's still very controllable. It looks awful, but you've got to sail quite badly to let the boat broach. So we didn't do any broaching today. We did a lot of death rolls, which gets everybody quite excited. But as long as you strap everything down tight, it's all quite controllable.
How long have you had Blanco?
Oh dear, must be coming up to 40 years. I'd stop counting now. I'm just beginning to get the hang of things, yeah.
Well, it certainly looked like it. What do you like most about the Contessa 32?
Well, these conditions. It's just such a lovely boat to sail. Going upwind, it just knifes its way through everything. Very very stable, very wet, being so narrow gutted, but it doesn't get thrown around so much as the lightweight flyers. So it's a very, very comfortable boat to sail upwind, and even in light airs, it's a pleasure to sail. And it's a very good weight carrier. That's why we carry a full keg of real ale with us all the time. We don't worry about weight. There's some boats in the class strip everything out that they can within the rules, but it is essentially a cruise the race.
Well, that was Blanco, always up there in the chocolates, in the Contessa 32 class, rolling around the Solent downwind. Pretty not very nice, I should think, on some of the windward marks there and those bearaways. But the boats that really go off like a scolded cat is the HP 30 class downwind.
Yeah, they were great fun to watch, and that was, as we say, that was the other class that we followed during the day. And when they got in, I went and talked to Jerry Hill on Moral Compass, who finished second. Now, when we were watching the HP 30s blast downhill, one of the boats that we were watching was Jerry Hill on Moral Compass. It looked like a hell of a ride downhill today.
It's been great all week. I mean, it wasn't as windy as we thought it was going to be today, but it was, still doing 17, 18 knots and quite puffy, which makes it, entertaining. It's really important to find the puffs and find the tide today, and we didn't do it very well for part of it, but got back into it, and it was a proper Cowes Week dust-up today with navigation problems, with tankers, with all kinds of stuff going on. But, yeah.
We did watch that down at the leeward mark. It did look rather odd with boats going, not really sure which way to go around the mark.
Yes, some of the fleet ahead of us went the wrong way around it. We pointed out the error of their ways to them, and we went around. So good on our guys for, being quite conclusive that they'd done it wrong, and which is a hard one for the navigator when you see three boats go around the wrong way. But you have to stick to your convictions, and so we had that, and then we had this issue with the supertanker later, where we clearly couldn't get across its bow, and we were just sort of sitting there with our sails flapping, waiting for it to get past us, and the rest of the fleet caught up with us. So yeah, there's a lot of that going on.
Typical Cowes Week, as you said. Tell us a bit about the HP 30 class, because this, I guess it's been around for a little while, but it's interesting because in a world where we've got more and more one designs around, this isn't a one design rule, is it?
No, it's a sort of collection of similar sized and similar type of boat. So they're all bowsprit, asymmetric type boats, and there's several different designs that can do well. And I think we've got 5 different designs here this week, and it's fun,
And tell us how you got on today in the end, after you'd avoided a supertanker and told the rest of the fleet to go around the mark the right way.
We got second in the end, and we'd been a lot deeper than that for a lot of the day. So that was really a question of just hanging on in there and trying not to make mistakes, and luckily the other boats in the fleet did make the mistakes. So never give up, because your opportunity might come.
Jerry Hill and the HP 30 class rounding up our classes of the day, but plenty still to happen here because we got celebrities and we got rocks. But this is a celebrity that Matt Sheehan met earlier today.
Indeed, yes. I was down at the Royal Yacht Squadron, bumped into Sir Ben Ainsley, who was sailing on Bertie Bickett's IRC 0 IC37 Fargo. Ben, how are you? Yeah, very good.
Good to see you. Yeah, very good.
Yeah, you just come hot foot from Plymouth.
That's right. Yeah, we had a good time down there. It was great. Sailed GP and had a good race. We didn't quite make the podium race, which is a shame, but it was really good to see so many people down in Plymouth supporting the league and the way that's all progressing. And we had the Duchess came down with us. We had a special Commonwealth race.
I saw that.
It was good fun.
Yeah,
really.
How did that go?
Well, it's good. We managed to win that one. Which was maybe we had a little bit of help from our Kiwi buddies, but the Duchess was great. She really, really enjoyed it. She's a great sailor. I think she sailed across the Atlantic a couple of times. She's done quite a lot of. I think she might have even done Cowes Week at some point in the past. So she knows her way around the boat, and she was steering the boat for most of the race.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, she's been out with you before, hasn't she, in the previous Cup cycle?
Yeah, she came out on the 45F when we were down in Portsmouth training, and that was a pretty lumpy, fresh day. And those boats don't really have a cockpit; they have a tiller instead of a wheel, so that's probably more full on than the F50. So she definitely, I think she liked the advancement in the boats, and she was blown away. I think the biggest thing for people that haven't been on those boats is not just a straight line speed, but when you start turning corners to an attack or a jibe, the G-forces that you get are pretty extreme. That sort of kind of blows people's minds a bit.
Yeah, now you're on Bertie Bickett's Fargo today, which is a lovely boat, but I suspect you're not going to get quite the same G-forces around the corner.
I don't know. It depends how many times we broach out. There's a bit of breeze forecast, so it might happen. Yeah.
So what brings you up here for Cows Week?
Well, I mean, I live on the island, so I'm here with my family, and obviously a huge fan of Cows Week, and having had the chance to compete many times over the years. So yeah, I mean, Birdie asked me to come along, and it's been great to build a relationship with him over the last few years with the yacht club, the squadron, and the America's Cup. But also we're here launching the Athena Pathway program with Hannah Mills, and that's a really great new initiative that we put together to really push our teams forwards with the Youth and Women's America's Cup, and also the Women's Initiative in Sail GP, giving those young people the opportunity to come through, really talented young sailors. How do they get into Sail GP? How do they get into the America's Cup? Providing that pathway. And of course, women in sport is really prevalent at the moment with the Lionesses win on Sunday. And we've got the most successful ever female Olympic sailor. She's such a great ambassador for the sport, so we're really proud that she's leading this pathway program for us, and we're just helping support that.
And the Women and the Youth America's Cup, it's a big deal this time around, isn't it?
It is, so it's a specific Women's America's Cup, first time in the history of the Cup, and the Youth Cup as well. I mean, we actually won the last Youth America's Cup back in the BAR team 2017, so we want to retain that trophy, and we want to win the inaugural Women's America's Cup. Why not? Again, we've got a fantastic strength and depth in women's sailing in the UK, so let's get out there and win that and try and win all three.
Yeah, fantastic. And how's the program going? I mean, we're still quite a way out from Barcelona, but there's never a day to waste in a cup cycle, is there?
The program's going well. We're readying our test boat to get down to Palma later on in September to get that in the water and get testing. Got quite a busy schedule there of testing items to run through, and we're starting to see all of the teams now get some form of vessel in the water, be that an AC-75 or a test boat or an AC-40. We're expecting a Lingy to be sailing in Barcelona quite soon on the AC-75, and Team New Zealand to get their AC-40 in the water in September, as well as Luna Rosa with a test boat, and ourselves will be out with a test boat. So September should be a sort of moving month in America's Cup, if you like.
Yeah, no, that sounds really exciting. That's going to be good, isn't it? Excellent.
Yeah. No, it's a lot going on, and Barcelona's a fantastic venue. We're really, really, hats off to Grant Dalton and the team. We're obviously, as challenger of record, we're a little bit involved in those venue discussions, but everyone's just really excited about that venue. It's great for the cup. We saw in Valencia 2007, arguably the most successful America's Cup in modern times, and certainly in terms of the number of teams and the viewership and so on. So building on that for Barcelona is going to be great.
Yeah, I think actually Valencia was the only cup that actually returned a bonus to all the teams, didn't it? A financial bonus. I mean, we'd never heard of that before, but
yeah, and I mean, it was good times back 2007 in terms of the world economy and so on. Right now it's a bit of a tricky time, but hopefully the world will get itself back on its feet a little bit more by 2024 with some of the sort of geopolitical issues that are out there. But regardless, life goes on, and we're looking forward to a cup in October 24, Barcelona. For us now, we're a third generation team, so we've made a lot of changes. We've obviously partnered up with the Mercedes Formula One team, which is a huge leg up in resource for us, and we've really got to try and make that count.
Yeah, well, we look forward to seeing it all develop. In the meantime, you've got to get ready to get your head around speeds that have got a fewer digits in them today. Oh, actually, you've got to get hold of the helm off Bertie first. That's the thing you've got to do first.
That's probably the biggest challenge I've got in the near future. But yeah, it'd be good. I haven't raced on one of these boats before, but there's some good competition out there from what I can see. And yeah, the speeds aren't quite the same as the F50, but it's still the same sport. It's still about getting a boat in its groove, finding the right wind, patch of breeze. Certainly around here, as we all know, staying out the tide or in the tide, depending which way you're going, and all those sort of traditional challenges that we love in the sport.
Yeah, excellent, brilliant. Well, good luck. Thanks very much for taking the time, Ben.
Thanks,
Great to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too.
Well, perhaps from one celebrity to another gold medalist, 2 golds and a silver to her name, Hannah Mills popped in to us in our studio.
Yeah, well, Athena Pathway program we're launching today, which is based around the Women's and Youth America's Cup that's been announced to take place in 2024. And so, yeah, we've bought an ETF 26 boat, which is out on the Solent today, sailing around, and we're essentially trying to provide more opportunities for women and youth to get into this type of sailing in the elite end of the sport.
And very important to see today, but this is a training into the America's Cup, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yes, this is the start, very, very beginning of the journey. And for any females or youth sailors out there watching that might want to take a part in what we're trying to do, the website goes live today, and there's going to be an application form. So anyone who's interested in getting involved, please let us know.
You're going to be inundated, surely.
Hopefully, that's the plan. Yeah, we've got lots of plans, so hopefully.
You've had a sail on one, haven't you, or two?
I've not been. Well, I'm currently
Yes.
not sailing. I'm pregnant, so I've not been on the ETF because we only got it a month ago. But yeah, I've been part of the Sail GP Great Britain team, racing on that with Ben, and they've got a women's pathway program. So there's lots of exciting things happening with women in sailing.
Now, for all the relatively ordinary sailors here at Cowsweek, what's it like on a foiling cat?
It's insane. Yeah, like the Sail GP boats, the F50s are just the most incredible machines. I was blown away. Anyone that goes on them is just blown away, whether you sail every day of your life or whether you've never sailed before. Yeah, they're mind-blowing.
One of the things on them, having sailed multi-hulls many years ago, is the centrifugal force. When you're going into a jibe, you're trying to be lurched over the side, aren't you?
Yes, you are. Yeah, the G-force is probably what caught me off guard the most when I first stepped on. Obviously, you get up on the foils and the acceleration is quite amazing, and then you turn the corner and you are properly flung. So if you're not holding on or in the right place, then you're going to go for a big tumble.
And it's all apparent wind, isn't it? It's all blowing in your face all the time.
All the time. Yeah, we're going sort of 3 times, 4 times sometimes the speed of the wind. So yeah, we've not quite got to the 100 kilometres an hour mark on the Sail GP, but that's what the target is.
It's quite incredible, and it's having a big effect, of course, because foiling is making its way into almost the cruising market, let alone the sort of overall racing, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think what's great about sailing at the moment is you go to sailing clubs and you speak to the kids, and they're just buzzing about foiling. They just want to go foiling, and that's part of what the Athena Pathway program is trying to do, is inspire that next generation to grow our sport in the UK and beyond, but particularly in the UK, and bring that next generation into the sport of sailing.
And for more information, where can they go?
The Athena Pathway website, athenapathway.com.
Also racing for Women's Day was a local all-female crew on Nightjar, a J92 racing in IRC4, and Penny Jeffcoat is her skipper. Penny Jeffcoat, tactician on board Nightjar, the J92 in IRC Class 4. How was Women's Day for you?
Women's Day was absolutely fantastic. We had an absolute ball. It was really brilliant racing, and all of the girls on the crew, we had an excellent time together, really racing the boat hard and doing a really great job, and doing some really good work out on the water.
Now you're locals, you're real locals, aren't you, from the Island Sailing Club?
Absolutely, yeah. We're members of the Island Sailing Club. The boat's kept just up here in Cowes, and all the women on board today, we all live round and about Cowes, so yeah, it's a very local boat.
Are they all sailors? I won't say they're meant to be all sailors, but they're from different walks of life and from the island?
Yeah, absolutely. We're all from very different areas, and so we've got a real mixture in terms of our crew and capabilities, and even from background, because we've got some of our girls lifeboat crew, so we go out on the lifeboat here. We've got a B class, we've got a police officer there, we've got a couple from the Ellen MacArthur Trust, and so yeah, a real mixture on board today.
Well, it's important to have Women's Day to point out that girls take part just on exactly the same level as boys. And an interesting fact from last year was that a quarter of the boats were skippered by women.
It's absolutely fantastic that things are definitely changing. So when we bought the Nightjar about 5 years ago, I helmed for Women's Day there, and I was a female skipper but all male crew. And now here we are with an all female crew, and it's definitely changing, which is fantastic to see.
Well, it's very good. Enjoyable Cowsweek so far?
Yeah, it's been brilliant. We've had some really great racing, lots of nip and tuck, and it's been very breezy as well. So it's been very interesting. Some of the jives are a little bit hairy, but always good fun.
It's been quite up and down the breeze today.
Yeah, absolutely. When we were headed out, it was a little bit light, and so we were a bit on the edge in terms of what sails we were going to choose and things. But once we got over down to the mainland shore, and the breeze really picked up, and then it really came in. So it's been quite variable, challenging at times, but good fun.
And C Class 4, of course, that's a handicap. So do you know how you've done?
We're not quite sure. We had a fantastic first beat, just got the tides just right, and the girls absolutely trucking along, keeping the boat going well. We were right on the tail of another 92 and quite close to the 97, so it's going to be quite close. But yeah, we're looking forward to looking at the results.
Well, there you have it then. Women's Day, celebrities, gold medals, and lots of racing action out in the water, and it's only day 4. We've got some more to go yet. Good day for you out in the water?
Oh yeah, I mean it was another absolutely classic Cowes day, because there are things to bump into. There's rocks, there's sandbanks, there's loads of traffic. There was even a super tanker in the middle of the fleet. So yeah, it was a proper Cowes Week day, I'd say.
Well, that's it for today at Cowes. Oh, we did mention rocks, didn't we? Here you go.